You have held your breath for almost 8 minutes.
And now I'm just observing as my body is numbing out slightly and slowing down.
So, as a breathwork coach, what is your most favorite state to be in?
My favorite state is when people question. I love it when people ask me why and how because that shows genuine curiosity and interest. And I don't want blind followers.
Okay,
I
that's
hope no
amazing.
one ever blindly follows me because it's not something that we are triggering into people and it's happening through breath. Because breath is the healer, I am not. That's one thing I specify.
What's your take on ice baths?
I started doing it because I wanted to master being uncomfortable. Because there's so much that we truly want to do, but the fear of inconvenience and comfort keeps us pulled back.
And which is your most favorite experience which made you a recognizable face? Like people started knowing in your industry.
Wow, that's a.
When we talk about, substance abuse and falling for all these addictions and then getting trapped into it.
I'm someone who never waits for the after party. The second it's pack up, I'm on my way back. After parties where people would just drink and dance, and then I think after parties where, and the after party is like, I'm
Okay.
really exposing the industry right now.
Do you think clarity comes with age? If you think yes, then today we are going to bust that myth with a person who is just 23, and the kind of clarity, the kind of understanding, the kind of faith she has in her, which has helped her achieve so much at this age. She's a full time model, she is a breathwork coach, she is a psychology student, and most importantly, she is an amazing, amazing soul to discuss anything in the world. So I want you all to enjoy this episode. And if you are someone who is extremely young, who thinks people will not accept me simply because of my age, then this episode is definitely meant for you. Hey Jayati, first of all, thank you so very much for taking out time and coming here and honoring this podcast. So, welcome to the Amrita Kunal Show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited for our conversation today.
Wow. So, Jayati, when I was doing the research on everything that you have achieved in this short span of time, I came across one unbelievable thing.
Yeah.
That's you started working on your mind at the age of 5.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe. And so, right now, I want to ask this question to you: who introduced you to this self work
Yeah.
or mindset work at such an early age?
So for me, I think it came as organically as it could for anyone since both my parents were working and my elder sister was always in her own world. There was nobody actually for me to hang out with other than myself. And that gave me such great foundation to begin my journey just exploring life as one individual person. And I also had asthma as a kid.
Oh,
So that meant now I'll be nebulized for like half an hour, maybe 3 times a day. And that's like forced meditation if you think about it. I just have to be here and just keep breathing. I'm just constantly breathing the steroids. And even though it's steroids, it's just focused breathing, keeping the negatives aside. It allowed me to just be. And then I had a few friends, but most of my time would be chhat pe upar in the Hawaii, and I'm just observing as the trees are moving. And I'm falling in love with just observing this and being curious. My general state of mind would be of curiosity towards life. Ki like what's beyond this? And how deep, how under do we go? What's inside? Like how deep do the roots go? And I'm just observing. Kafi were just looking at a leaf. I'd just be looking at it for very long. People were like, it's dyslexic, yeah, full-fledged. Because like what is she doing here really, right? And I didn't mind. I was like, external stuff was introduced to me at the age of 9. The world didn't exist for me before 9.
But you never felt lonely at that time, because many kids can feel lonely that, I don't have my parents
Yeah.
around all the time, my siblings or any other person. So normally they get consumed by that loneliness. So did you ever feel lonely, or you are very happy in this world of yours?
Honestly, I think loneliness is also something that we are introduced to as an idea of something which is probably seen negatively. At that point, I was not introduced to how the world sees anything. It was just me writing my own definitions. So even though there was a part of me which wanted to share these things with my family, I was also okay not doing it. I was like, if they're not available, that's okay. Kafi had tak I was also a bit parentified towards my own parents. You know, you become your parents' parent, usually in Indian families. But keeping that aside, for me, it was like I have a few bunch of friends in school and I introduce this world to them, which I've created in my head, like my imagination. And they're just silent, they're just listening, and we are having our own journey. It's like almost like guided meditation. So I think all these things came to me so organically कि बड़े होके I learned, अच्छा ये तो breathwork होता है, ये तो
ये तो मैं
meditation होता है.
बचपन से कर रही थी. Exactly.
Just sitting and like observing as the food is going नीचे धीरे धीरे, and I was like, कब तक? Till when can I feel this? Till when can I feel this go down? Till when can I feel? I can consciously feel it. Then you can feel a heartbeat. Then you can feel everything happening. So for me, it was a game because nothing else to do can also be an opportunity, right?
So this was truly, I can say that your life purpose, which you did not even realize at
Yeah.
that tender age, right? So when we talk about your childhood, Ajayati, whose influence was biggest or highest in your life? Was it your parents or your grandparents, your sibling? Who was, who was that person instrumental in getting you into this breath work? You know, can we just
I
share?
think for breathwork, especially, it was both my parents because they did. They used to do soham, like pranayam, every single day.
Okay.
I think at least 40 minutes minimum. They do it continuously, and I would see that. I was like, okay, let me also try some of that, and then
Okay,
I'd
so
sit
your
and do it.
family is actually into the breath work.
They were for a little while. They had phases, right? But their phase really helped me because it stayed with me while it didn't stay with them. So I continued on that journey, and then I got into breath work, and wahi se, I think that really helped me. And both of them were fairly fit, so that really allowed me to explore.
So they literally got into breathwork mainly to introduce it to you.
Yeah.
As if it was your calling and they facilitated
Yeah.
it. We can definitely say something
Yeah.
like that. So, Jayati, you also shared that you have ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you said that even your parents have it. So was it detected early in your life, or is it like an adult ADHD?
No, I'm not sure if they have it. I'm sure they have something, with how they
Okay.
are. No,
Okay.
I'm just kidding. But honestly, I had a lot of ADHD since a kid in terms of being clumsy and in terms of losing things. No, actually, I mean, that's incorrect. Not exactly when I was super young, but after 9, after I shifted to Bombay, I had more of it.
Okay.
Before that, I was really zoned into everything. So when I was younger, I felt like I had great grip on the internals, but I wasn't ready to be thrown into the chaos of Bombay. Though I still learned my ways around it and learned to create opportunities through it, I feel, I started losing a little bit of my touch with meditation, which I brought into my life again. But I think kafi had tak they helped me in it in both the ways, in terms of like also being a catalyst to it and also being the reason I just need to center myself.
Wow, that's amazing. So now, Chaiti, you are, apart from being a full-fledged model, you are also a renowned breathwork coach. So what exactly does a breathwork coach do in a person's life? Like, how do you introduce it to any person who's coming to you for support?
Yeah, I think if someone's interested in exploring breath work, first thing I'd ask them to do is just observe how they naturally breathe and without altering it. So you just sit and just notice, close your eyes and just notice how you're naturally breathing. That should be the first step. While being the hardest, it is something which will ground you. And now, if you're still interested, there's so many modalities which can give you different experiences. There are different styles of breathing which increase energy levels. There are styles of breathing which can ground you. There are styles of breathing which can allow you to stretch through pain. Like experience pain in a more held together situation.
Okay.
And now I also use breathwork for acting.
How do you use that?
So how I use it is if there's an emotional scene, right? How do we breathe? And when you do that, you also realize scientifically what is breathwork doing here. Now it's bringing out those memories from when you were breathing like this last. Your brain naturally taps into its memory bank, and now you're thinking about when was it I breathing like this, and now you're naturally method acting. You don't have to put in effort. You're organically flown into method acting where you're just remembering that space and now you can naturally just slide into the role without having to act. You are in that experience, and the camera captures it
That
perfectly.
would give you such an amazing edge over everyone around you.
Yeah.
Right?
I think a lot of actors don't realize it, but they do it, And even in scenes of excitement or like, oh my God, I just won this. Oh my God, so happy. I'm so happy. So it's breath. Breath convinces, in front of the camera. If you're breathing correctly, everything else will flow into the right space.
Wow, that's amazing, amazing. So you have held your breath for almost 8 minutes. So what kind of work that went into creating this kind of person that went on to create this record?
I think that was the most random thing that happened. I was doing a lot of breath work since 9 to 12. After that, I really got into it. And I was consistent because it was enjoyable, not from discipline. It was just enjoyable for me.
Wow.
But that gradually really helped my asthma come down, my resilience really, enhance. And then it became something which I was so used to, and my muscle memory had it. First time ever when I challenged myself to hold my breath and like put a timer on it, that's when it went to 8 minutes. 3-4 minutes, I can feel my body shake. And for once I'm observing, I'm not trying to control it. I'm like, let me just observe how it's shaking and let myself know that I'd be fine. I'm convinced that I'd be fine, okay? And I'm observing how my body is really like grasping for whatever it has and really wants to breathe again. But after 4 to 5 minutes, it stopped. And now I'm calm. And now I'm just observing as my body is numbing out slightly and slowing down. And around 8 minutes, I knew I had to take a breath because I could still see this is happening in front of, it's an open space, but there's like a mirror, like a big mirror. And then I see, then my lips are purple. So I'm like, okay, breathe. And then I take a deep breath in, and like I had a psychedelic experience for at least 10 to 12 minutes after that.
Oh my goodness. So I can clearly see one thing, that most of the things that you achieved, which are like unbelievable for normal people like us, are actually coming from the place of enjoyment.
Yeah.
And that's probably the beauty of it. Like, you did not do it with the target of, becoming a breathwork coach or, achieving what you have achieved at such an
Yeah.
early age. Everything was basically exploring, being curious, and enjoying it to the fullest.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me realize that today so many people want to do certain things simply because it's paying well, or simply because
Yeah.
it's in rage. So what's your take on all such kind of fads, which come in our industry?
Oh, that's a very important question. I do understand there's massive inflation, and the stress towards money is definitely legit, and it's something which is only natural because we are being conditioned into this. Sales and marketing is constantly like pushing us into this artificial sense of lack, which might probably not even be very artificial with how the world's going right now, the leaders and the decisions being made. But I think what you do for around 60% of your life. And if you have the privilege, because many of us don't have the privilege, we don't have the option of mobility in our occupation. But if you do have it, then then put in the work and figure out what is something you're truly passionate about, something that you actually want to serve yourself with and then others, right? And then I think what comes out of you will be magic. And this for me was like, breathwork was something that brought out the best in me. I was like, if I can do this and I can do this for my friends, let me see who else can I help with this. Never started with how much is this going to pay me.
Okay.
But I'm also saying that coming from a place of privilege where money was not something that
The
I
only
needed. Yeah.
requirement to
Yeah.
survive.
And when it comes to as you said, how do they know what's legit and what's not? I think this is very important. So I think there's a lot of scamming happening here. People pretending to be something that they're not, or
Very true.
and that's very dangerous. Definitely, it's very dangerous, especially like where their target would be people who are vulnerable, people who are who want to believe something, or maybe if you've lost someone and you're desperate, because grief is such a painful emotion, and if you're desperate to create contact with that person, it's like, I want to know how are they, and we can't know this. The worst thing about human condition is we can't know. We can't know where we come from, and we cannot know where we are going with certainty.
Yeah.
Right? So we can either create a story around it or be okay with the fact, which is really difficult.
Very
right? So I think people in those volatile situations, they lean towards believing whatever comes in, and they are usually the targets of people who are scamming.
People who are scamming.
I think the best option is questioning. Question, I think like Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's someone who's connecting spirituality with science. There's so many tests that prove that these practices are actually giving consistent results. There's states of absolute high beta waves, and people have tapped into theta practicing these exercises. There's so much control that you now have through these modalities, which is researched. So you ask for the research, you ask for how is this working, and don't be afraid in questioning the person you're working with, and let them also guide you. This is you giving them an opportunity to also bring out their best, or if there's something that they don't know, they can also find that out, right?
Very true.
So
finding a right
questions.
person to mentor you is extremely
Very
important.
important, very
Very
important.
important. And what you're saying is so true, that you should get into something mainly to enjoy, and then let
Yeah.
money or all other things take care. Because being a mentor to life coaches and healer myself, I also come across so many people whose intent is very clear. It's not wrong, I would say, but it's very clear that, Amrita, I want to earn money. Okay, but when you are very, very focused on money, what I have seen in my career of mentoring and all, where people cannot see consistency because that's not they are enjoying, that's what they are conditioned to do because it pays them. So what you are saying is actually making sense, that when you enjoy something, all other things become very, very secondary.
Yeah.
You just surrender yourself in that enjoyment zone. And you don't
Absolutely.
even realize when you have started making really good amount of money, which will help you to survive. You are
Absolutely.
actually that a beautiful example of let money flow in when you are the
Yeah.
happiest one.
Yeah, plus, honestly, again, I'd reiterate the fact that I have the privilege. I know many people don't have it. So, like, to be able to say that I get to do, it's about I get to do what I want to do. Most people don't. So, but still, this space, especially, you're holding someone who's in a vulnerable spot. That comes from deep responsibility, right? It comes from, you can't be greedy there. Then it's not about money. And if it's about money, then that's a dangerous space that you're putting yourself and the other person in.
Exactly.
Because
Especially in this field.
yeah, because that's where the scamming starts. Because it's very vulnerable, right? It can be we are doing something. I'm giving you an exercise, which could be something where you get to learn something about you. That's it. Or let me put a few extra things which I've just created and put it in just to make a buck.
Yeah.
Now
exactly.
that's dangerous
That's
territory.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. Jayati, can you tell me who is your memorable, what is your memorable success story as far as you being a breathwork coach is concerned? Like somebody came to you and down and out, and you just transformed them simply through working on their breath. Can you recall anything?
Absolutely. I think so. When I do breath work, I make sure that I don't create hypnosis. One thing
Okay.
I've observed in breathwork coaches is that they, you see these videos where people are just throwing themselves around, screaming, crying. A lot of it is generally something which it's like, hypnosis, they give suggestions.
Yeah.
Okay. And now you're in this state where you're not very highly stimulated. Usually we're so stimulated that it's very difficult to penetrate through those thoughts. But when you start breathing, you're getting deeper and you're more suggestible. So now if I say ki, oh my, just think about the worst thing that happened to you, and you give me a reaction, I record it and post it on social media, look at how incredible it is. That's bullshit.
Yeah, I've seen it.
That's-
Many such videos I have seen.
That's crap, and that's drama, and I'm very against it. So for me, I make sure that I don't create that space. I let them, do it. For me, it's purely scientific, and I try to stick with science as much as I can, with research as much as I can, and anatomy. So I think one experience would be, oh my God, there are many actually that are coming to me right now. But this was a group session, and we are all breathing together. And I have no extreme experience of someone crying or going full-fledged into it. There are many, and to be clear, there are many experiences where this is natural, where it actually happens.
where crying is natural, yeah.
When it's held through, I think in Vipassana I've heard a lot about it. And then there's pranayam, there's soham, and that's a
Yes.
very natural release. It's not something that we are triggering into people, and it's happening through breath. Because breath is the healer, I am not. That's one
Yeah.
thing I specify,
Wow.
I'm
that's
not
so
the
beautiful.
healer.
I'm not a healer. Breath is your
Yeah,
healer.
breath is the real healer. I'm probably a vessel, or I'm someone who's gonna guide you through it, but I'm just your guide.
Wow.
Breath is the true healer. So there was this one experience where this woman, she couldn't breathe. She had a lot of tightness in her chest. And throughout, I felt like there was nothing. All she needed was just someone to come and just like slightly touch. I'm like, just, it's okay if it's completely okay if you don't want to do this. You can rest now, because this was in the acting industry, and you're so used to taking instructions, doing things out of performance, doing something out of pressure. I'm like, you don't have to. There's no pressure on you. And all of a sudden I see, I'm just gently touch her.
Wow.
And that for
Suddenly
me,
she got opened.
yeah, and she's like, the fact that I'm not forced to perform right now allows me to be myself. And that was a very beautiful thing for me to learn as well. Coming from this industry, we are playing characters.
Very true. Very true.
And then she was the strongest breath in the entire group. And in the end, she had those tears running down. And then I've seen that shift in her. She's like, now I don't know how that sentence did something for me, but I feel free to be myself. Like I don't have to. So it's just like one tiny thing. Sometimes just that one tiny thing clicks and it works for someone. But never coming from an attempt. It's like, just observing them and like just being there. And breath does it. It's not me, never me, always the breath.
And so when any client comes to you, say for one-on-one breath work,
Yeah.
Okay. So for how many days or how many sessions do you normally take?
I think I try to teach them the right technique so they don't have to come to me anymore.
Okay. So you are more into teaching.
Yeah.
And less into actually making them do it yourself and
Yeah.
everything.
So honestly, where I learned, they told me, don't let them do this by themselves. And I questioned why. Why? Just so I can continuously make money out of them. That's not how I work. If they're like, no, this should be done with a teacher, but why? My whys were never answered. So I found my own whys. I was like, if this person, I would let them do this by themselves the second I realized that they have reached this amount of stability where they can explore these really deep states, by themselves. So I'm with them and guiding them through the process so they don't need me anymore. That's my goal. It's not to keep them with me, but I want you to
that's so
not need
beautiful.
me. Right?
And that's so rare in today's world where people say that I want you not to need me because you have reached that level. Yeah. So as a breathwork coach, what is your most favorite state to be in?
My favorite state is when people question. I love it. I love it when people ask me why and how, because that shows genuine curiosity and interest. And for me, the best student is someone who questions me and who questions the modality. So even if I don't have the answer right then, they are giving me an opportunity to also learn.
Yeah, very true.
What's better than that?
We are always learning through
Yeah.
the clients and students.
Yeah.
Very true.
And I don't want blind followers.
Okay,
I
that's
hope no
amazing.
one ever blindly follows me because that's a waste. If they're blindly following what I'm telling them, then like 2 meters down the road, they'd be blindly following a scammer. There's no
Exactly.
growth. I want this modality to help them like hold themselves in a space that they have their own thinking, their own questioning, and critical thinking is your best friend, right?
Wow. Jayati, now next question is, what's your take on ice baths? And why, according to you, it's becoming such a rage in, fitness industry?
Oh wow, ice baths are actually a very crazy. It's almost very controversial these days because they say women shouldn't and all this. I'll address all of it. So ice baths are, I think, they're an opportunity for you to put yourself in absolute discomfort while keeping yourself centered. It's like an exercise where it's great for addicts, great for people who want to master discomfort. I started doing it because I wanted to master being uncomfortable. And
What do you achieve when you, when you're feeling uncomfortable? Why do you want to
master
achieve it? Yeah,
I
master
think
it.
because it gives me true free will. Because then I'm not bound by comfort. Then I can do what I truly want to do without having to worry about, is it uncomfortable? Is it comfortable? Because there's so much that we truly want to do, but the fear of inconvenience and comfort keeps us pulled back. And the next door only opens once you master it, right? So for me, ice bath is a space where you go from comfort. There's a particular breath work I teach people for it, where they can really maximize the benefits. And this is for free for all always. So it starts with fire breathing. So you're really bringing up that energy to go and do something. You're full of adrenaline. You go in, you jump in, and you sit. And now we are going to center you. Now it goes to absolute slow breathing. So when I'm guiding someone, I'm straight in front of them, strong eye contact, and we breathe together. We could be probably holding hands, and you're just slowing yourself down, because to be in ice is very uncomfortable, right? It puts
Can't
your
even
body.
imagine. I have never done it.
Yeah.
But after listening to you, I really feel like doing it.
We are definitely doing it. It puts you into survival mode, right? But in survival mode, if you can train yourself to be collected and calm, you can take that skill with you everywhere you go. If in this absolute discomfort, you learn to put yourself, you learn to have clear thinking, calmness, and being grounded and collected, then you're the master of this, right? And once you're out of it, then you feel like, okay, you're super alive. It has a lot of biological benefits, of course. It's great for skin, it's great for your immune system. But there's some people who shouldn't do it, which I'll get to later. But this way, it's just like a little space where you get to master discomfort. That's what it was for me. But people with like psoriasis, this is important because I'm talking about breath work. People with psoriasis, hidradenitis suppurativa, or seborrheic dermatitis, it's not for them. Because the skin's already dry,
Anything
it can cause
related to blood
flare-ups.
pressure or any?
Honestly, blood pressure, this is something that maybe they could ask their doctor. If they give a green signal, then they should go for it. But people with auto-inflammatory skin conditions, it's not for them.
Okay.
It can be done in certain safe ways where it's a combination of sauna and ice bath. But that should be there should be someone guiding it. Someone who already has the knowledge of this, guiding them through it. And women during their period cycles, it's very important to maybe not do it during a period, right before and right after. Don't do it, because your body needs the heat. It's already going through a process and it's generating that heat. We don't want to flush it off it. We don't want to flush it off the hormones that we actually require at that point. That time, ice baths for women is still controversial. I don't have all the answers for it yet. It's also a particular research I'm still on. But for most men, go for it.
For men, it's like absolutely, they can definitely go for it. Females,
absolutely.
We have to
We still have to research.
Yes.
I am still not saying that it's a big no, because it's been beneficial for me, but it's something that we still need to study on. I think there's not enough research for women. There's I feel there's so much lack of research for women in sports, women health, and women's experiences with like these things, ice baths, jumps and all. It's mostly men.
So according to you, how many sessions one would need, to feel that transformation in physical body as well as an emotional body, as far as, mindset shift is concerned? How many sessions one should take of ice bath?
Of ice bath, I would say you would feel an instant difference within your first session. Right after it might be something that's going to call you more, or it'd be like, okay, I'm done. I've learned my experience. That was good, but so always listen to your body is one thing I'd say. No guide is better than your body. I am not better than your body either, So it's your body which tells you what's up, and always listen to it. Baki, if consistency is key in terms of if you want aage ke results, but this is something which should be done as a practice to sort of master discomfort. It's not something which you require all the time, according to me, because if you're comfortable, what purpose is it truly serving?
Exactly.
Right? Yeah,
And
it's done its job.
Yes, and the reason why people are becoming successful is because exactly those are the people who are able to embrace all the discomfort.
Yeah.
So this is definitely meant for, according to you, is it definitely meant for those people who know that they are stuck, but they are unable to come out of it simply because they are very scared to go towards that uncertainty of life? Do you think so? It will definitely introduce a huge difference or huge transformation in their life if they go for something like ice bath?
I think ice baths are I see them as an opportunity for this particular space of discomfort. This may or may not also work for many people. If you're already really high on cortisol, then I'd probably not suggest ice bath as the first thing. Because this is something which will spike cortisol initially,
Exactly.
right?
It's discomfort.
Yeah.
Everything that's
So-
uncomfortable.
So for some people, if you've been stuck in a space and it's been really painful, there's so many modalities to work with, right? That's why I love how science and spirituality work together so well. When you understand a bit of endocrinology, you understand a bit of human anatomy, you can really you can bring in consistent results for people. I've not done my entire education on this, but I'm on my path as well because I want
And
this
you
to
are
be
doing
done.
amazing. Amazing. You're
Thank
doing
you so
really
much.
amazing for everyone who's listening to you right now. So, as a breathwork coach or as a breathwork enthusiast, also, I would say, what is that one practice you would ask anyone who is not into this kind of word, who sometimes find it very boring? Many people,
Yeah.
I come across, they find like, no, meditation nahi karege. Ye breathwork because, I start getting headache.
Huh.
So, what kind of work, what kind of that one practice you would suggest people to do?
If they say ki, this is too boring, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, I'd say congratulations on your clarity. Because it's not for everyone. We are so different. We are such unique people, all custom made. So breathwork might not be the thing for you. If it's the thing for you, if it excites you, if it intrigues you, and if you want to do this. Because there's so many ways of getting into that delicious alpha state of being. And for some people, it's dance. For some people, it's music. For some people, it's painting. It never has to be just breathwork. I'm an advocate of what brings you that space, not just breathwork. That does it for me. And I'm someone who has enough knowledge to give it to other people. That's why I do it. But for some people, they can reach the same state of bliss through dance that maybe someone can through breathwork. Or maybe someone can through silence.
That is such a beautiful way of looking at things, that just flow with whatever
Yeah.
works for you.
Absolutely.
Right? And you are very sure breathwork is probably not meant for everyone.
Yeah.
If you enjoy it, you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's this one girl who came to me for breathwork and she was having a very, very hard time keeping with it. Like 5 minutes in, her eyes are open and she's unable. She's like, okay, I'm tired. And then I was like, you know what? You want to try something new today? And then I was like, we played this really nice, relaxing sound. And then it starts changing into faster music,
Okay.
And now she's really enjoying her zone. And I see her in the most blissful state I've seen her before. Like all these sessions when she's trying to do breath work, this is when I see her at her best. I'm like, oh, it could probably be this. And now she's already so relaxed and happy. Now we do breath work and she kills it.
Wow.
Right? So it's different things work for different people, and always be open to different modalities. I think that's the key.
So you are also into modeling. You are Bombay Times Fresh Face. Also, you are Miss Academia. So how did this journey start for you?
So I had just come back from Brazil, like buzzing with confidence, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to take some stages on. I felt like I had that edge in me because throughout the year I had all these different experiences, and I felt I had something to offer. And then I came to this college. I was super lucky to get admission in St. Andrews. Very difficult for me that time because, quotas.
Okay.
But then I was really lucky I got in, and I met incredible people there. I met my teacher, Raina ma'am, LC ma'am. These teachers were, I got to give credit where it's due. So they really nurtured me, and they were like, I want you to go for all these competitions. They made sure I went for every, and things were working so well for me. I was winning all of them. And
How
through-
old were you at that time?
I was 16, turning 17, yeah. And all these opportunities just coming at me left, right, and center. So many events happening everywhere, and I was going everywhere. Every time you'd win something, you get to the next level, and then it takes you to another competition and something else. And it's adding so much to me, every different door opening, every opportunity coming in. And then it led to Times Fresh Face, and then I went into modeling because it just became, everything just connected, it just added up. And every winner of Bombay Times Fresh Face had to sign with an agency at that point, and then they'd represent you. So that's how everything connected for me. I was very lucky in terms of getting great teachers, great guides, and amazing judges who could, who saw some potential in me.
Wow, that's amazing. What's the most memorable experience of winning any competition or pageant?
Wow, this is a very good one actually. This was probably not even a very big pageant. This was my first. This was Miss Brahmotsav, okay? And they asked me, they were like, "This girl's confident. Maybe she's overconfident. Let's ask her."
Okay, yeah.
And they asked me in the question answer session, Jayati, what's the difference between confidence and overconfidence? And I saw their expression. They're like, "This is when she'll screw up," and I'm like, "Thank you for the question, because that's one thing I'm clear about." I said, so I started with overconfidence. And to be overconfident is to believe, to be on cloud nine, I'm the best, to never question yourself, to feel that now I'm already at the peak and there's nothing for me to improve on. And to be confident is to scrutinize, in fact, every step with trust and faith in yourself, while also while also knowing that you have the capacity for it, and truly you're here for whatever there is, right? And so they were like, once, wait, she does know that, right? And this came very naturally. Right now what I said is probably not exactly what I said, it just came to me. But the difference was like being on cloud nine and taking accountability. That was the main difference. Being on cloud nine versus taking accountability for your steps, knowing that I'm not perfect, but
I'm growing.
I'm open to improving, and I'm open to learning through wherever life takes me, through whatever stages that come to me. I'm open and in acceptance of it. That's the difference. And when I won that, I felt like, okay, this time I deserved it.
Wow. So that became your memorable because you
The
knew
most.
what you said is coming from your heart.
Yeah, and also the fact that the judge, for me, it was memorable how the judges went like, this little sly girl, let's see. And to be like, okay, like their expression change was a big reward for me. Like, thank you.
Amazing, amazing. So in this, this industry where everything is so glamorous, how easy or difficult it is to stay grounded?
That's a very good question. I think also the reason why this industry called me was because there's so much illusion, honestly, right? Like there's so much that song Duri, from Gully Boy. I love that song for this reason, where they compared this real rich guy and the driver who is Ranveer Singh. And there's so much of that you experience here. There's so many levels, so many people who are on their high horses and like, oh my, I'm this, I'm that, and like people who are struggling. So to enter this industry for me, and to like be around so much illusion and not be a part of the illusion, was the power game. It was something I wanted for me. It was like, I want to challenge myself by putting myself in the most amount of illusion, and to test myself by not getting swayed by it.
So basically, what you did in the childhood, exactly you did the same thing
Yeah.
for your modeling. World.
Exactly.
Wow.
Wow, I
That
actually
experience-
love how you gave me that.
Exactly. I mean, because I can very well relate to that. That you had chocolate,
Yeah.
but you just tested yourself by checking that am I falling for this?
Yeah.
And now you're doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's like if I can go there and completely be me, then I'm loving it. For me it's a playground. For me this entire industry is my playground, where I get to be a little puppy having the best time ever. That's it. It's like,
But you always get treated the best with this kind of attitude.
yeah. Actually, yes. So the thing is, people expect you to be really mean as a model, and when they see that you're actually pretty chill and you're someone you know that everyone can talk to and have fun with, they're usually pleasantly surprised. And then I see everyone's guards coming down when I come there and I talk to everyone. And we are all having a good time. Everyone's guards come down, and you see that within everyone is a little
Energy.
child wanting to have fun. That's it.
Wow, that's so beautiful. So you have always had most amazing experiences because of the energy that you bring, right? So what's that one myth most of us people who don't belong to that industry, we just see it from the distance and we have a lot of judgment. So what's that one myth that you feel is totally untrue about this industry, modeling world?
That's actually an interesting question, to the point that I have to really think, because there was a lot I could have said some time back before I knew better. I
But
would
you know
have
what?
said-
I'm sure your even parents might have said something when, they might have had some questions or some inhibitions before you entered this industry. So what were those? And did you get a chance to literally break it by
Yeah.
showing that, Mama, see, you thought this would be this and this is what it is?
Yeah. No, actually, yeah, so both the questions, starting with the first, I'd say one myth is about the casting couch is actually a myth in modeling, not in acting. In acting,
Okay.
there's a lot of it. I've seen it. I've never been a part of it and not yet been asked for it ever. But in modeling, you have to just fit the category. If you look the part, you're casted. Because there can be no nepotism in terms of, okay, that's the look they want. That's it. That's the brand and that's the look they want.
Yeah.
What can they even do about it? So in modeling, I've rarely seen any casting couch. Not really.
At least
at
you have
all.
not experienced
No,
it.
and directly
Exactly.
never.
Okay.
And I love the fact that it's full of women and gay men.
Okay.
Where are you safer than that?
Exactly. Exactly.
You know,
You feel
it's the
safe
safest
around.
world ever. In fact, I'd say. You know.
Yeah, and what kind
for
of
women.
role? Very true, very true. What kind of role do you feel that? To what extent it is true when we talk about substance abuse and falling for all these addictions and then getting trapped into it? Have you come across this, or have you seen something and where you have felt helpless because the kind of world that you come in, you are highly grounded, so it's very difficult for people to influence you that way.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you must have come across certain things where you felt helpless. So, to what extent all these things are common?
I think for me, generally, I'm someone who never waits for the after party. The second it's pack up, I'm on my way back. So I've never really experienced an after party or after party or after party because there are three categories. After parties where people would just drink and dance, and then I think after parties where they get into harder drugs, and the after party is like I think it's full blown. I'm
Okay.
really exposing the industry right now, but but I've usually had an exam. There was just one after party I wanted to be for, just to experience what it's like. That was the Manish Malhotra thing. But I had my economics exam next day.
Wow. What a timing.
I know, right? That is one thing I wanted to experience because you get to really network with the best.
Exactly.
Right?
So that's what my next question is, that
Yeah.
when you don't get to network with such people because you don't believe, or you don't probably enjoy going for this after party or after parties and stuff, how does it exactly happen? How do you end up landing all these amazing roles or the work that you
It's
get?
my work is purely based on my portfolio. It's
Okay.
only what I've like my Instagram profile has my photos and I have a PDF. That's it. So it's usually word of mouth. If someone's worked with me and they like my work, they just spread it around for their friends, and then they'd be like, "Hey, I heard about you from her. She had a great time working with you. I want to work with you," and that's how it just starts flowing one after the other. It's been I've had agencies, but right now I'm freelancing with a lot of managers, and I'm
Okay.
loving it.
You're loving it.
I'm loving
Okay.
it.
And if anybody who's listening to you, who's probably in college right now, and they want to explore this modeling world, they feel just the way you felt that, I felt that I had it in me. What exactly the work they should be doing? Like, if you can give them step by step, certain plan of action
Yeah.
to some, say, 16-year-old, what it would be?
I'd say from in first step, personal development, I want you to eat cleaner. I want you to work out. Okay, it's not even about your shape of your body. It's about your confidence. When you work out, you walk with a different energy, a different confidence, and your self belief is step number one in the industry. Step number two is presentation. So now I want you to really present yourself very well. You can dress up well, or you can, if you have your own style, bring that out. Let your body express, whatever creativity you have. Step number three, take pictures of it. You don't need in this day and age. You don't need a cameraman with you everywhere. You have your phones. It can be anything. Take your photos, create different shapes and angles, create something which is unique, which is your X factor. In Fresh Face we had that word X factor. Bring it out. So bring your X factor, and then start posting it online. If sending your pictures to agencies is not working out, social media will scout you. So start posting it on Instagram, and you can write hashtag scout me, hashtag modeling, and you'll get
Wow.
scouted. I only used the hashtag scout me on one picture when I just started before any agencies, and a Russian agency scouted me from that one picture. So it's actually it can be that easy.
It can work really well.
Yeah.
What's your most memorable or most favorite experience of, modeling?
Wow. Oh my God, there's so many.
Okay, I can ask you a
No.
better question that what are the different most memorable experiences with respect to different ways of modeling?
Okay.
Like ramp, or you can talk about TVCs.
I think one top favorite would always be L'Oreal Paris because so many things just worked out for me, like magically. I went in over there, Jackie birding it out, which was like really being myself, flamboyant self, really, honestly, and having a lot of fun. And chit chatting with the heads. I did not even know they were the heads of of L'Oreal Paris when I was chit chatting with them. I got to know that only when they chose me to be the face of the brand.
Wow.
And so things just always work out for you when you walk with good intention, when you walk with like joy and like happiness. I think things work out. That's also how I believe in manifestation. Initially it was something I was like, how does that truly work? I think it's intention and action. Neeraj also
Yeah.
said that. We had that conversation where he said it's like intention and an actionable plan. That's manifestation.
Yeah.
That's
Your
the law.
intentions matter a
Yeah.
lot. Your
So I walk in like I'm gonna go have an incredible time. I'm gonna give them an incredible show, and then that shows through your body language. And then when you're in front of the camera, it shows in your pictures. And things just worked out for me. It was a very long shoot. I don't know how many, like, at least 24 hours, full fledged on
oh
set
my god, without sleep.
without sleep, legit, because it started with something and then went in like four different groups. But that one picture that they took of me became the face,
Viral.
right?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And which is your most favorite experience which made you a recognizable face? Like people started knowing in your industry.
I think that has to be. Wow, that's a. I think it's a bunch of different TVCs that worked for me. It
Which
could.
one is your favorite?
Oh wow, that's an interesting. Tanishq, Tanishq,
Okay.
Tanishq would always be that because that's where the director said so many nice things. He's like, he legit looked into my eyes after the shot. He's like, "You are a star, Jayati. You're a star. Remember that. I want you to remember that. I want to see you everywhere." And that kind of stayed with me. That feeling because he said it with so much intention, with so much energy that it translated into me. I was like, "I'll make you proud."
Wow, that's such a beautiful feeling.
Yeah.
Do you feel that, whatever you're achieving, even though you feel that you have just started off, but the way you're doing so phenomenally well, do you feel that somewhere, this, the wisdom that you have that comes from breath work and knowing yourself so well and being so very well grounded helps into also becoming a most successful version of yourself into modeling industry?
Absolutely. I think it's so
How does
holistic.
it happen?
So I feel like breathwork gives me the opportunity to have like it's a remote control. Breathwork in the easiest words, in the most Gen Z words, gives you the remote control to your body. This is when I'm required to have this amount of energy, I can just use my breath and bring that out of me. If I want to be grounded, calm, and like it's a scene which needs intensity and depth, I can just use breath, just control it down and have it. So I think it allows you to have so much more precise control and so much skill in terms of being in front of the camera and being like hybrid, like there's hybrid athletes, there's hybrid models. I think
Model,
it gives
yeah.
you that.
And you know that you are best. You are like,
Yeah.
you have the edge over all other in a
Yeah.
most humble way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So now coming to the next question, Jayati, if someone wishes to, become a breathwork coach, what do you see the opportunities in this industry?
I think if someone wants to be a breathwork coach,
Because we get to hear a lot nowadays, I'm a breathwork coach. So what exactly are the opportunities that you can see?
I think if first thing I'd say study anatomy and study endocrinology. These are your best friends. There's some amount of science that you should definitely know. You should understand the body. You should understand how the hormones work, and it's intensive and it has depth. But if you want to actually offer service, you should have this knowledge. And second, there are many opportunities because honestly, the corporate world is a massive space which requires a lot of grounding. I feel it's left so raw and it's almost robotic. I've been to these corporate spaces where to just have little talks just to see how people are doing, and I'd see that there's so much structure they are given that they don't have any plasma
Space.
in
Yeah.
them anymore. They don't have any flow left in them. So I feel this can be so nourishing and calming in these spaces, which are such tight spaces. It's so boxed, and it's competitive in its own ways, I'm sure, and there's a lot of stress that they handle. But if you keep someone in like four walls continuously, they're caged, not just physically, mentally, but they're just so caged that now their ambitions get caged, everything gets caged. To be Breathwork will help them free off these spaces and for some time be with them. And when you can really feel how you're feeling, you know what you truly want. And corporate spaces have a lot of people who need that. And then there's a sports persons, and all the athletes, breathwork really helps them.
Very
And they
true.
really need that. And then now women especially, I love to work with women. I work with women more than anyone else, because that interests me. And I don't take clients off the bat just like that. I need to first see the amount of curiosity and critical thinking in them, in terms of, is this coming from following, or is this coming from desire to learn? And that's when I take it up. So for me, when those boxes tick, that's when I work with them. But if people want to work in large scales, there's sports, there's fitness, there's models, there's acting. You can teach them different styles of breathing to get into different characters. There's immense scope.
It's amazing. So, Jyoti, whatever we have interacted and the way, you have inspired everyone who's listening to you right now, I can definitely see you're the best combination of a soft girl and also a person who knows herself very well. So, you're also a tough person. Okay, so how exactly do you create boundaries? How well defined are your boundaries, especially with your family members, in your profession, and how do you create it?
I think, this is something I've been so attached as a kid to my family, mostly mom and my sister, that this is something even I had to navigate, for myself. And then I realized that for me, my biggest fallacy was blood is thicker than water. I would always, that was my issue. But then that's something I had learned. I was like, devotion has to be earned. It can't come from just family or just blood. It has to, if someone's putting in that amount of investment, they deserve investment back, and they deserve devotion back. So those boundaries for me come from how much is someone investing in me, and it's very individualistic. There are no biases. I try to do that, at least. I try to not come with biases. Okay, this is he. You only have you have this amount of space. If there's effort that I see, that is how much I invest into it. Baki, where do my boundaries come from? I think those were pretty well set as a kid for
And what
me.
about the professional boundaries?
Oh, professional boundaries. What I do is, when I'm in my professional space, I usually create this really childlike atmosphere that no one ever, this is probably like a bit I'm exposing here, but you know how they say that people flirt with you, they try to get with you, but when you come in with this, the masculine has two spaces. One is attraction, and one is just protection and nurture. So you can appeal to the masculine from the space of attraction, that now they're attracted to you and they want to
Know
they
you
want to
better.
be with you.
Yeah.
And then, but there's another place that you can inspire in the masculine, which is of protection. So generally what I've observed in these sets is, when like the authority male figures, they generally see me as a younger sister that they want to protect, that they want to nurture and nourish. So they're like, did you have that? Okay. And they have this playful vibe, but they
How
don't
do
want.
you how do you introduce that energy? I'm so sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you. How do you introduce that energy?
Yeah.
Because this can be a survival kit for so many people, so many
Absolutely.
females.
Absolutely.
Because this is the biggest issue. Females, who know how to put themselves together really well. They have this issue whether you're married, unmarried.
True.
This flirting and unwanted attention
Yeah.
and the kind of discussion that goes on. How do you introduce this kind of energy where all these people, rather than expecting wrong things from you, they actually want to protect you as a sister and
Yeah.
not as something else, someone else?
So I'll also give you an example right after I tell you. So for me, it's like I come in with the curiosity and excitement of a child. So I'm like, we are going to do something amazing. And initially, even if attraction starts off the bat, but like I've already come in like a child, so now they're already curious. It's not attraction that they're tapping into. It's like, that's different. And this silly goofiness about me in on sets when I'm outside, that it generally does not invoke that space. I think it's also very innate. In me, it's like
Yeah.
I generally invoke the younger sister feeling. So I'm curious and I'm having fun and I'm the questions I ask, the way I behave is also something that they wouldn't naturally be attracted to, but they'd be like, "You're so silly and goofy." I think that's what it brings out. So I'll give you an example which would help. So there's only this one time was this person who, this was my only experience because usually they see me as a sister, but this person is married and all. He's trying to be a little flirty with me, and he's like, okay, and I can sense it.
Yeah,
And-
we females have that
Yeah.
sixth sense.
Yeah.
Where we just understand even if the person
Exactly.
is not talking. Yeah.
And I did not know this initially. He was just supposed to drop me back in. He's an authority figure in the on
industry.
set. So now all of a sudden, now I start asking him questions that tap him into an emotional space, in a softer space, because attraction for men especially is a little more surface level. For women it's more innate and deep.
Yeah.
For women are actually like sexual beings, whereas men, it's it's a very different thing. It's more conditioned into them, and gradually with age it softens and they become more grounded and humble. So so I'm asking him questions which don't invoke attraction. They invoke thinking, they invoke feeling, and they invoke things where I'm like, okay, I'm seeing you as a person now. And now
Yeah.
and now all
not
of
as a
yeah.
commodity.
Yeah, and I am the one who's asking him questions. He's not asking me questions. Like, tell me more about this, and all of a sudden he opens up about all of his like loneliness and how he's been feeling all through and through. And now all of a sudden he is not trying to flirt with me. He is not trying to like go for my hand, or I knew that he wanted to hold my. I could sense it. I was like, this is the time when I do my little thing, my little magic of that sisterly vibe. And now he's opening up and he has all these he's in a soft space now. He does not want to,
Impress you.
yeah, and now he does not want the sexual thing with me. He's just so happy that he can talk about things that he couldn't. Men
Exactly.
are the loneliest beings on earth. They don't get to, women share intimacy with each other, which is like women innately naturally have intimacy with each other.
Yeah.
We are open, we can be physically comfortable with each other, we can be verbally comfortable, whereas men are supposed to hold this stature throughout.
Yeah. They're expected to
Yeah.
be someone all
and
the time.
and if they share vulnerability, they're very often treated poorly for it.
Yeah.
Later they'll be dragged through mud for it. So there's so much loneliness in men usually, that given an avenue where they feel safe talking about something, they're gonna drop that attraction in 1 second. It's like, I want this so much more than I would have wanted attraction with you, right?
Very true, very true.
So-
this is so
Yeah.
beautiful, and looking at you, Jayati, I can very well sense that I myself have observed this, that these kind of guys who want to expect something wrong, even in spite of being married or being in relationship, whatever be it, they are usually attracted to damsels in distress. They want that. That abla nari kind of thing. Here, I can't do this, and you definitely don't. Have that kind of personality. You, the way I said, you're soft. At the same time, you're tough. Also, you very well know who you are. Do you also think that is also one reason people might be thinking twice before expecting anything wrong with you?
No, honestly, I don't show that the side of awareness too often. I show that
Acha,
fun,
okay.
fun light side. It's only when it's required. So instead of letting someone down, like, no, my God, don't be here. Like, that causes, why do we cause such, we don't need that disruption. In fact, what if I see deeper into him and see what is that he truly wants? I don't think. And then you realize it's the lonely kid inside him. And for me, it's been like 100% thing every time.
Works every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like,
That's amazing.
it might sound a bit manipulative at this point, but then honestly, it's
But
so much better
that
than
works
hurting someone.
Exactly, and
You're
that works
serving them.
so best.
Yeah.
And it makes you also a happy person without even, demeaning or putting that person down.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So Jayati, now we are totally in awe of the way you are, creating your life. So what are the plans going further as far as modeling is concerned and your breathwork coach as a profession is concerned?
So, as far as modeling is concerned, my movie Metronome is going to be coming out really soon, 25th of July, guys. Keep in tune.
Wow.
So, after that, I'm planning on doing a lot more acting. That movie is on schizophrenia. It's a very interesting, it's a thriller movie.
Wow.
Definitely give it a
Looking
watch. It's
forward.
a absolute good watch. Like, I've heard good reviews. I was pretty nervous initially, but the script was so amazing and the team was
What
so
is
amazing.
it all about? Can you just quickly make us understand? Like
So-
what kind of character you have played?
So honestly, this is such a thriller thing that if I expose anything about it, it exposes everything.
Let it be surprise.
But I can give a little gist. It's on a rock band, and it's about the journey of this one singer. Sorry, I'm the singer. Guitarist.
Okay.
It's this journey of this guitarist who's he's really skilled, but it's about his struggles, and what happens next is something you need to really watch. A lot of people relate to this, and this has been screened in a lot of mental health institutes, a lot of film festivals. Right now is doing really good. Super excited for the release.
Wow, that's amazing. And what's that one thing that you are really, really proud of your life?
In my
One
life.
thing. Yes.
thing.
One thing that you have achieved or one thing that you are, innately born with. What is it?
I think I know that no matter how much I falter from my path, I'm always back. So I never have to worry. I'm like, okay, I'm lazing around right now, or I'm just giving myself time to be stupid. Sometimes I'm just doing things out of stupidity and goofiness. I know no matter what it's like right now, I'll be back on my track all the way up.
And do you think that you have worked on this faith or you're just born with it?
I think it's been there. In fact, it was even louder when I was younger. I'm at this point I'm reconnecting with that part of me. But what I was born with is something I aspire to have again.
Wow,
Really.
it's amazing. Now, just last question. This is an amazing, amazing podcast. If your breath had to, speak about your life, everything that you have achieved, what it would be, how your breath would describe Jayati Jha as a person.
You're absolutely unstoppable. And I see the force of a woman that you are. I want you to put yourself out there even more than you do and have absolute faith.
Wow, that's amazing. Amazing is the word. Now we will be having a rapid
Let's
fire
go.
Jayati Jha edition.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Let's go.
Ice bath or sun soak?
Ooh, both. I wish ice bath.
Okay. One Sanskrit word that totally anchors you.
Shwas.
It's amazing. One quote that lives in your bones.
One code.
Quote.
One code. Aim, align, achieve.
Wow, that's beautiful. Gym, yoga mat, or dance floor?
Oh my God, you're killing me now. Dance floor.
Okay, that was unexpected. I thought you would say gym.
Yeah.
Pageant, crowd, or a breathwork circle?
The second one was crowd, you said.
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
people in the glam industry, or your own breathwork circle.
Breathwork circle.
Okay. One practice you never skip in your life.
Dancing.
One book that changed how you look at your body.
How I look at my body. Oh wow. It's funny because the name of the book is The Body. But but that's actually a biological guide for people. Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza will be the one I'd recommend. Yeah, and that's the
Wow.
one.
We are looking forward reading that. I've never read it, but I'm definitely doing it. That was a banger episode. Jayati,
Thank you
you
so
so
much.
much. This was one of the most memorable, episodes that we have done. And what you have achieved at this age, it's just simply unbelievable because in early 20s, people are just, are just trying to figure out what they have to do. And here you are, who is so clear about everything, not just clear, you're also so action oriented that you are, and also having so much faith that we all can see you're totally unstoppable. So, all the best wishes to you. And we'll keep meeting you for more understanding of
Absolutely.
human nature.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I feel bachpan mein I had me as a guide. As I grew old, I had Suneet Sebastian as my coach. He gave me so much insight. So a lot of what I've said today comes from what I've learned from him. So definitely giving credit where credit's due. And I really had such a good time talking about everything and learning so much about me with your answers, where you connected my how I was as a child, and that coming back as a model in terms of putting myself in illusion, bringing out. That's a very great insight you gave me about me. So I'm so grateful for
So
this session.
amazing. Can't wait to meet you and have this experience
Yeah.
again.
Me
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.